and now listening to the program Straight Talk with the United Independent Movement, presented by your host, Professor Aubrey Burger, and co-host, the President of the United Independent Movement, Jacques Talley, with our anchor, Chris Erodis from Port Elizabeth, and from time to time, along with various guests, only here on Joy Radio, every Thursday evening from 6:30 till 8 p.m. Here on this program, where nothing is held back, and where you will get straightforward answers and sincere talk about the daily events in South Africa. Yes, that's what affects every citizen in this country.
You are tuned in here on Joy Radio, your companion and friend in Jesus. The following program is paid for and proudly brought to you by the United Independent Movement. This program contains political content. The views and opinions expressed in this program and broadcasts are those of the UIM and its representatives, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Joy Radio, its management team, sponsors, the owner or board of directors. This program is paid for by the United Independent Movement, which accepts full responsibility for its content in accordance with the Electoral Act and ICASA regulations. Joy Radio, your companion and friend in Jesus.
1 Januarie van die jaar 2026 was so pas 6:30 gewees. Jan is ingeskakel op Joy Radio hier vanaf die plaas ateljee op Vaaloewer in Vanderbijlpark, Vaal-Driehoek, Gauteng. En welkom by ons eerste program van Straight Talk saam met die UIM vir die jaar 2026. En ouder gewoonte het ek niemand anderste, ja, ons anker Chris Erodis saam met ons. Chris, good evening. How are you doing this evening down there in PE?
Good evening, Prof. It feels like I haven't been on radio for a whole year. Great to be back. It's wonderful, and let's tackle this year by the horns. Thank you so much for having me.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Nou ja, en dan het ons natuurlijk ook, ek het julle mos gesê, ons gaan hom aanhoudend, gaan ons hom nou op die lig sit hier so by ons. Want dis 'n man wat nie skaam is om te gesels nie. Nee, alles behalwe. En hy was ook laas jaar saam met ons gewees. Nou val dit my by. Ja, ons is in die nuwe jaar. En dit is niemand anderste as ons sekretaris-generaal van die UIM, Chris Jonkney. Chris, goeienaand en welkom weer eens hier op Joy Radio.
Goeienaand, Prof, en goeienaand al die luisteraars. Voorspoedige nuwe jaar vir julle. Dit harde werk wat voor lê en ja, ons sien uit vir vanaand.
Ja, inderdaad, ons doen. And when now we've got our candidate for this evening, who we all the way there from the Western Cape. Ja, daar van die Wes-Kaap af. En dit is Frankus de Vis. Nou ja, onthou, dis nie een van die visse wat daar in die see swem nie. Nee, hier is 'n landvis. Dit is waar hy is. Frankus, goeienaand en welkom hier op Joy Radio, jou eerste keer saam met ons. Lyk my daai vis het geskrik. Die haai het gekom. Nou ja.
Can you hear me now, Prof?
I can hear you now. Where is it?
Prof, thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you for the opportunity for UIM that organize these things. I feel humbled to be on the show. And I love to be here. It's not by force, I love to be here and hear what we can discuss taking this year forward for the UIM.
Thank you, Frankus. Ons gaan hom nou weer aan die woord sit. Ja, ons president Jacques Taljaard, ons wag nog vir hom om by ons aan te sluit. Ja, hy kuier nog daar by sy ouers en ons weet ook maar
Hierso.
as hy hierso, daar is hy het so by die agterdeur ingesluip. Jacques, goeienaand en welkom op hierdie eerste dag van Januarie 2026 hier op ons eie program, die Straight Talk by UIM. Nog aan, Jacques? Ja, soos ek genoem het, hy kuier nog daar by die ouers, daar op die plaas areas en die syne is maar nie lekker daar nie. So ek glo ons sal hom nou weer terug hê. Want Jacques het vir ons 'n spesiale nuwejaarsdag boodskap ook wat hy vir ons gaan bring vanaand. But yes, Yellow, sê daarso.
Mees prof, ekskuus, ek weet nie wat het nou gebeur nie. Ek sien dit is skaars nuwe jaar en hulle gooi my klaar weg.
Nee, ag nee, ons doen dit nie. Nee, ons doen dit nie. Ja, nee, maar jy sien, dit is die ander partye wat wil verhoed dat jy moet praat en ons gaan dit nie toelaat nie. Maar Jacques, ja, aangesien ons jou nou teruggekry het en terugbeklei het en teruggestoei het. Ek wil graag hê dat ons vanaand se segment met afskop, Jacques, dat jy met jou nuwejaarsboodskap vir al die UIM ondersteuners en vir al die luisteraars hier op Joy Radio, dat jy dit met ons sal deel asseblief.
Dankie prof. Ja, ek as julle my sal verskoon, ek het hierdie boodskap het ek maar gaan neerskryf op papier. Ek wil dit nou nie uit die duim suig nie en ek wil nou nie foute maak nie, so ek het nou maar aan ietsie gaan werk, so ek gaan dit nou maar vir julle lees, maar dit is nou uit my hart uit en dit is namens die UIM. Wil ek net vir elke lid, ondersteuner en vriend 'n geseënde en hoopvolle nuwe jaar toewens. Mag 2026 vir ons almal 'n jaar van vernuwing, eenheid en vasberadenheid wees, waar ons uit die foute en uitdagings van die verlede leer en met nuwe moed vorentoe beweeg. Laat ons elke dag streef om beter leiers, beter bure en beter dienaars van ons gemeenskappe en ons land te wees, met respek, waardigheid en medemenslikheid as ons kompas. Ons weier om deur die verlede gebind te bly. Saam skud ons die kettinge van twyfel, verdeeldheid en moedeloosheid af en bou 'n toekoms waarin elke Suid-Afrikaner gesien, gehoor en gewaardeer word. Mag ons meer lief hê, meer leef en 'n voorbeeld stel van eerlike, dienende en verantwoordbare politiek wat die belange van die mense eerste stel. Dankie vir die vertroue, ondersteuning en opoffering in die afgelope jaar. Sonder U is daar geen beweging, geen verandering en geen toekoms nie. Mag 2026 'n jaar wees waarin ons saam sterker staan, die stem van geregtigheid en hoop versterk en stap vir stap die Suid-Afrika bou waarvan ons kinders droom. Gelukkige nuwe jaar, mag vrede voorspoed en beginselvaste leierskap ons pad merk. Dankie prof.
Baie dankie, Jacques. Nou ja, geliewe luisteraars, dit was die nuwejaarsdag boodskap deur die president van United Independent Movement, Jacques Taljaard. Maar nou ja, let's go over to, and tonight it's one again wat mengelmoes, wat mengels gedeelte. Ons gaan Afrikaans praat, ons gaan Engels praat. Ons is nie bevoorreg hierdie week om iemand te hê so stemba van laasweek, wat sommer 'n bietjie vir ons kos en hy goed ook ingegooi het nie. Maar ja, ons het, soos jy reeds weet, Frankus de Vis saam met ons. Frankus, tell the listeners who you are, why are you with UIM, what are you doing in your constituency where you are busy with, and why should they vote this year for you? Just unmute weer. Lyk maar so 'n paar tegniese probleempies daarso. Vra jy maar 'n bietjie geduld hê met ons, dis eerste dag van die nuwe jaar. Ons mag maar 'n bietjie hê. Want as alles moet vlot verloop, jy luister as jy weet mos hoe gaan dit dan. Dan gaan die hele jaar 'n ramp wees, maar as hy begin soos hy nou begin, dan gaan dit 'n fantastiese jaar wees aan die einde. But there you go, I can hear you now.
Yeah. Prof, can you hear me?
Yes, please proceed.
Yes, yeah.
Seems like the signal is a little bit bad there on your side.
Yeah, I see the signal is very bad, yeah.
Okay.
I try to move to see if I get a better signal.
Right, we can hear you now. Just continue. Tell our listeners about who you are and etc. and so forth. So you can. The floor is yours, Francis.
Yeah, I see that the signal.
Ja, dit blyk vir ons het so 'n bietjie seinprobleme daar van die Wes-Kaap af. Ek weet nie of jy suidooster kwaai waai daar nie.
Ek dink as jy wind praat, kan jy hear that?
Ja, ek kan hear you. Okay, Francis, ja, you're gone again. Nou ja, ons sal terugkom na Francis toe. Kom ons kyk, gee maar net kans dat ons bietjie daai dinge uitgesorteer kry daai kant. Daar so in die Wes-Kaapse wêreld. I want to go over to a panel and I want us to discuss a couple of things quickly. At last, everybody is now really up in arms about farm murders. And everybody is shouting now that it needs to be declared a priority crime. But why did it take for another prominent farmer had to be murdered? And this is a respected farmer down there in KwaZulu-Natal, who also were the chairperson of the African Farmers Association of South Africa, Mombongeni Shikakane. Now listeners, you know that every farmer what do get killed. And I'm talking not even if, I'm talking about the small farmer and the big commercial farmers, because they all have been targeted. Not just is it a breadwinner what is lost, but it's a job creator what is gone. It's a fruit producer what is gone. And, you know, we are calling now once again for increased policing and better surveillance of farms. But I can't see how we're going to get that done. Because the manpower for that just aren't there. It is not there. Calling for dedicated rural security, but we want to disarm the security of this country. Development of modern surveillance technology to detect crime in farming areas. That's going to cost a lot of money. So all of us, there's solutions, but I don't think the government, in the end of the day, want to put these solutions into play. National plans, maybe Ramaphosa is going to come out with a new commission. Now at last they say, okay, let's get a commission there to see if it is really, really necessary. Because they are, up to now, they are just say no, it's not. There's no farm murders, man, it's just murder. And so forth. I saw, Chris, jou hand was uit opgegaan. Wil jy graag iets hierso byvoeg vir ons? Christo altans, ja.
Ja, prof, dit is eintlik baie maklik as ons na die situasie kyk, as ons dit regtig opgelos wil hê. Is dat jy weet die kommandos het altyd die werk gedoen. En die boere van daai gemeenskappe was deel van die kommandos. So al wat ons moet doen, want al die infrastruktuur is nog steeds beskikbaar. Dis bietjie verniel, maar is nog steeds daar. Al wat ons moet doen, ons president moet 'n kommissie aanstel om 'n hele paar miljoene vir die boere daar te gee, dat hulle die kommandostelsels weer in plek sit, dat hulle dit self manage en daar's geld beskikbaar en ek kan vir jou onmiddellik waarborg. Die crime sal onmiddellik baie verminder. En die ander ding, ek wil net uit een van my werkers waarmee ek saamwerk, hy's net so uit soos ek, hy kom van die ou skool. En jy weet, hy het nou 'n opmerking gemaak oor wat aangaan in die land. En hy sê vir my, jy weet, Kirsty, dat weet ons mense is nie so wreed as wat daar gesê word, hoe die mense moet vermoor word nie. Hy sê ons local mense is nie so groot gemaak nie en ook nie die youngsters nie. Hy het myself die ding gesê ons klaar, want die 60s, my ou hier in Joburg word hulle omgery en as jy omstamp is daar 60 bo op jou. So dit is 'n helse storie, maar nie 160 is 'n local ouetjie nie. Dieselfde met taxis. Hy sê vir my dieselfde ding met taxis. Ten minste 70% van elke taxi-drywer is 'n foreigner. En hy sê dis waar die ding inkom. Hierdie foreigners kom van 'n plek af waar daar nie robots is nie. Daar's nie stopstrate nie. Daar's nie reëls nie. Hy sê selfde met die moorde. Hy sê hierdie ouens is nie is logistically. Ons het geen beheer oor hulle. Ons het hulle is in die land en illegally. Hulle kan moord, vermoor. Hy sê onder daar waar hulle bly, byvoorbeeld in Alexandra. Dan moor jy vir R5 man. En hulle kom weg daarmee, want hulle is nie documented nie. En hy sê 90% van al die moord wat in Suid-Afrika aan die gang is en al die manne wat die polisie bribe en al die dinge waarmee is foreigners. So die oomblik as ons die foreigner probleem kan oplos, kan ons baie probleme oplos. En dit bring ons weer terug na die commando's toe en die goed wat in die ou tyd die grensposte of die grense ook bewaar het. Elke mens, ek weet ons is baie kampe gedoen, en ek is seker Chris ook, ons is daar op die Limpopo, ons het kampe gedoen, elke jaar, vir 2-3 maande, vir spesifiek die rede om hierdie foreigners uit te hou. En dit is hoekom ek sê, yes, dit raak nou 'n prioriteit, ja, die boere word vermoor, en dit is 'n ernstige situasie. Maar ons moet gaan kyk, ons moet intelligensie, soos in die ou tyd, ons intelligensie moet reg wees. Ons het lank voor die tyd geweet as daar iets gaan gebeur, want ons intelligensie in die townships en die plekke was baie goed. So ons kon baie van die goed voorkom het. So al die goed wat ons het, ek het nou dat luister na 'n ding wat ons het die grootste intelligensieforce in die wêreld, die 8ste grootste. Waar is hulle? Wat doen hulle? So as ons daai basics weer reg kry, dan gebeur al die res van die goeders. Want in die verlede, ek bedoel, het ons lank voor die tyd geweet as iets gaan gebeur. So ons was altyd voorberei daarvoor. En vir al die polismanne, oud polismanne, jy kyk, hulle informants was goed geweest. En as ons daai stelsel weer kan terugkry, kan ons baie dinge verander. En dis nou goed dat daar soveel aandag is op ons, die boere. Maar ek bedoel, weet, as ons kyk na die Amerikaners wat hulle het om mense te beskerm, ons het nie mense nodig, ons het drones nodig. En daai drones werk daai plek, kyk, hulle sien 'n ding, ons kan 'n drone met 'n 9mm opsit en as hy nie van jou gesig laat nie, ons is sommer daar en dan uit. So ons kan al die goed gedoen kry, ons kort net geld. Dis al wat die mense kort. En die boere het baie inisiatief, moenie 'n fout maak nie. Hierdie ouens het inisiatief. En ek praat nou van al die boere in die omgewing en baie van die plekke waar die polisie nog werk saam. Maar as ons die tegnologie gebruik, daai man stap nog net in die veld of sy kar stop op 'n verkeerde plek, dan weet ons hy is daar. Met tegnologie en daai drones kan weet groot areas baie vinnig klein areas maak. So ek dink as ons geld het, ons moet beklei dat ons geld kry en dan hierdie mense wat dit in die verlede gedoen en nou nog doen, dat ons hulle die tools gee om hierdie werk gedoen te kry. Dan het ons geen government nodig of geen polisie mag of ding nie. Ons kan dit self sorg.
Ja, maar ons het nou so 'n tydjie terug toe Jacques hy's ook vir ons mooi uiteengesit hierdie nuwe wapenwetgewing wat hulle mee besig is, wat hulle almal wil nou weer probeer ontwapen en dit. Ek meen hulle is besig daarmee, so hulle probeer dit eerder druk as om te kyk na die veiligheid. En ek praat nie net van die boere nie, ek praat van die normale Janneman op straat se veiligheid ook.
Maar prof, die volgende gesprek wat ons het oor hierdie projek Zingiza, dit het baie meer te doen met die wapen ontwapening van die mense. Ons sal nou daarby dit kom. Dit is maar net 'n voorsmaakie van hierdie projek wat kom.
Absoluut, ja. Absoluut. Alright, ek sien dit lyk my Francis is nou reg daarso vir ons. Are you ready now? Hopefully the technical problems are sorted out.
Yeah, perfect. I'm stable. I'm stable.
Good. Okay, tell us a bit more about yourself to the listeners. Why are you part of the UAM? What are you doing for UAM? Why should they vote for you in the upcoming elections, end of 2026, and so forth?
Yeah, thank you very much, Prof. Thanks, afternoon press. Let me give a quick background of myself. I was for 38 years in the police service. Actually, as a police and then police service, but 38 years in total. So when we talk about crime, I have quite a good idea of what is happening. And part of my 38 years in search was dealing with intelligence. While we were trained by the FBI and all that people. So as Curtis said, that intelligence is so important, and I don't think we have that intelligence currently. And that is why crime is so high. They do it daily, they do it during the day. But they don't care because we don't have intelligence, because if it disappears, it disappears. So I was in search for 38 years, and after that I left. After I left, actually in 2021, I joined UIM. But then trying to make contact with some people, and they didn't come back, so I left again. And then last 2023, I joined again. So I'm now currently in Hanover Park, the Red Lake, in the Western Cape. Hanover Park is a gang-infested area. I was a station commander there for 5 years, so I know quite well what's going on there. The people knows me there. I'm going there and speaking face to face because it works better for me. Because when people ask you questions about the UIM, you can answer them there and then. And that is the best thing. The other thing that social media is not working for us is that people don't have to have constant, Wi-Fi connection and all of that. So I don't know if I can speak to the people, hear their concerns, log C3 service complaints, get a job done. We have 3 jobs that have been done now. Where the councillor was sitting for 10 years in his seat and doing nothing, a DA councillor. So yeah, you can go to Hanover Park, anybody, I challenge anybody, go to Hanover Park, they know me. They know me there for service. I serve for 28 years in SEPS. And then when I left, I feel I can still serve. And I serve through the UIM. So yeah, that is one.
Okay, thank you very much for that update and background, Francis. And I believe that, as you said, people know you down there in your area. And we believe that we will see you in council after the next local government elections. So after tonight, I'm sure each and everyone would haven't known about you, haven't heard your name, will know now for who they have to vote, I mean. Ek wil graag oorgaan na net gou iets vinnig aanraak en veral Christo en ek dink Christo self en Jacques, julle het nou 'n bietjie baie gesout is in die ding. Ek meen hierdie ding van Willie Oukamp wat nou sy voorganger Dr. Dion George by die openbare beskerming aangaan gee. Dink julle nie dis bietjie suurdrywe nie? Of was daar binne gevegte nou al so ver gegaan wat hulle so ver met hardloop?
Prof, ja, ek sal antwoord hierso. Ek dink ek dink daar was mense was bietjie onder 'n wanindruk gewees. Mense is bietjie onder 'n wanindruk as dit kom by van ons politieke partye daar buite. Hulle dink is als maanskyn en rose en van hierdie partye. Jy weet, ons in die UIM het ook al ons issues gehad in die verlede. Ons het die meeste van die as daar iets gewoonlik skeefloop met 'n politieke party, is dit gewoonlik intern. Meeste van die tyd, jy weet, interne probleme en is gewoonlik die tipe goed wat 'n politieke party sink. Ek is baie trots om te sê dat hier by die UIM is, jy weet, it's the least of our worries. Ons is nogal 'n gehegte groep. Ons staan saam. Ons beklei nie met mekaar nie en as daar meningsverskille is, sort ons dit uit. Ons almal, jy weet, ons dieselfde beginsels, dieselfde waardes, ons fight vir dieselfde dinge. Dit is nie die tipe goed wat jy sommer in die UIM gaan kry nie, en as so 'n ding sy kop uitsteek, dan deel ons daarmee onmiddellik. So ek dink daar is maar 'n bietjie probleme daar in die DA. Ek het die laaste ruk het ek 'n paar berigte gesien op sosiale media ook wat hulle daarso hulle hoe sê hulle they hint they are hinting at a few things en dan wys hulle maar dat die laaste berig wat ek gesien Steenhuisen en Zille en nog 'n paar mense se gesigte is op die beriggie geplaas. So daar's maar mense wat 'n paar skimpe gooi DA se kant toe. So dit lyk nie vir my of dinge so lekker is daar 'n lekker liedjie land in die DA nie. Dit lyk maar vir my daar is hulle ook maar besig om mekaar se kop af te byt en mekaar maar in die rug te steek. Nie 'n goeie teken is vir ons nie. Ek bedoel dit is een van die koalisievennote of die coalition partners van die GNU. En dit lyk vir my hulle gooi mekaar nou lekker onder die bus. Dis nie wat ons wil sien van leiers in Suid-Afrika nie. Dit is nie wat ons wil sien van politieke partye wat ons lei nie. Ek dink dit is 'n goeie voorbeeld wat gestel word nie. Maar dit is maar hoe sê hulle power struggles. Dus, en die probleem is, jy weet, as mense eers begin beklei oor mag, dan moet jy weet hulle prioriteite is nie reg. En jy weet hier by die UIM dis nie iets wat ons oor beklei nie. Ons beklei nie oor mag nie. Dis een ding wat ons glad nie oor beklei nie. Ons beklei nie oor geld nie, ons beklei nie oor mag. En ek is baie trots om dit te sê van die UIM. En ek dink politieke partye as hulle eers begin beklei oor geld en mag, dan moet jy weet mense moet dan maar hulle vrae begin vra en hulle moet maar vir hulle self eerlik daai vrae beantwoord.
Ja, en een ding van die UIM ook, hulle vuil was goed in die openbaar nie. En ek meen dit is presies wat hierdie klomp nou doen. En ek meen, wat so voorbeeld stel jy daarso? Ek meen, is dit nou regtig waar 'n party vir wie jy jou mee wil skaart en sê ek is deel van hulle? Ek stem met trots vir hulle? Nee, ek dink nie so nie. Want ek meen, môre draai hulle teen jou ook. Maar ja, Christo, en dan Chris.
Thank you, Prof. Ek sal mos 'n bietjie Engels draai.
Okay.
Okay, so there's always three sides to a coin. Their side, his side, and the right side. So I'm actually waiting to see what is the real issue. There's more than we think it is. We must just wait and watch. It will all come out. En ons kan maar die boek kom uithaal. Want daar kom nog baie verrassings daai die DA uit. Kyk, daar is baie vrotvis op die oomblik wat nou geïdentifiseer word. So ja, kom eens kyk. Three sides of the coin.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what type of worms comes out of it. Not even out of a closet, but I mean, these worms is going to come out of a coffin, so that's for sure. And it's going to be interesting to see what it is. Chris?
Well, Prof, you know, it's been about 5 months now since Auntie Helen popped her head out and became very relevant and prevalent in the DA. I believe this is when a little bit of speculative information got leaked, and her and John Steenhuisen tend to be fighting with one another to see who's wie's nou die main path van die partytjie. But we've also got to take one very important thing into account, and you must also remember that the DA keeps the ANC alive. That's what they do. And that people must never ever lose sight of. Without the DA being the DA, the ANC wouldn't be relevant at all. But there seems to be a lot of in-faction fighting. This is not only happening in the upper echelons, but it is happening all over. I think that it won't be long before you find that a lot of these DA councillors or ANC councillors are going to be given the shaft and be told to quit and leave and disappear. They're going to start cleaning house internally. Everything is imploding, both in the ANC and the DA. And it's not something that needs to bother the UIM at all. We remain steadfast on the road we're traveling, and that is what we need to focus on. Not on other people's mistakes, but on what we can do for the public and what we can do for our constituents.
Yeah, Chris, I agree with you on that one. And the thing is, you know, what I personally, and I know that is also a motto in the UIM, we don't like to name and to shame and to and to say, I told you so. But there comes a point in a time what we just have to do it, just to show the people, to give them a wake-up call, to say, listen, we've warned you against that. You didn't want to hear it, now you have bumped your head. Or actually, you broke a leg or something like that. But that's why I am personally very proud to be part of the UIM, because I know that what we stand for and the integrity what are within the UIM, from the executive right down to the normal members who are part of the UIM. But that brings me to something important, 2 points what I want to put together this evening. And Christo touched on it a bit earlier. And if we look at this naval exercise with Russia and in Iran, and that brought the question to pass to say that, okay, where's South Africans where's South Africans alignment? Because this is non-alignment. I mean, there were other clips, YouTube clips, etc., and that said actually South Africa have declared war on America with this. And then, yeah, the cherry on this cake is the Project Zingiza, what our beloved Angie Motshekga, our 50% minister, where she said, listen, I'm not going to say too much, but China government is going to help us to upgrade the army base at the Brug. But while we visited here, you know what? We had everything so good under control. We made sure that the conditions were so security-wise, that there was no breaches, that no sensitive military assets or information have leaked out. Well, I personally think they don't need to leak out. They already know all of it. I mean, China got what they want. They don't need to go in to get it. They just went to verify it, I believe, according to myself. So, and then Iran comes with another cherry, what they also placed on the cake, and they said, okay, while we're doing this exercise with South Africa and Russia, let's take it one step further, and the foreign minister for foreign affairs, he said, listen, the Royal Canadian Navy, we declare them now as a terrorist group. We are a terrorist group. So maybe South Africans jump on that bandwagon now. I'm going to say, okay, we also declare them a terrorist group, the Canadian Royal Navy, and because seems like we are following them. Afrikaanse woord wat ek het daarvoor, ons is soos 'n skootswindjie wat agteraan hardloop en kef. Maar ek sien Christo spring op en af daar, so hy kan nie wag om hier in te kom nie. Christo.
Prof, die eerste vraag wat ons moet vra is, wat wil die Chinese hê? Want betaal kan ons nie betaal nie. Ons het nie die geld nie. Wat wil die Chinese hê? En hoekom juist nou die Brug? Jy weet wat gaan hulle in die Brug doen? Hulle gaan 500 miljoen spandeer. Hulle gaan 'n aanloopbaan bou, wat basies die J-20 stealth-vliegtuie kan hanteer, en natuurlik hulle Y-9, die Shahi Y-9 cargo carriers kan hanteer. Okay, dis in die middel van Bloemfontein. Hulle gaan 2 brigades se equipment skep, 2 brigades. Ek bedoel, broer, ons praat nie van 'n klein weermag nie. Ons praat van 'n groot weermag. Dit is die hele Pretoria se ou brigade en die hele Vrystaat brigade. So dit is 'n brigade en dit sluit in tanks, troepedraers, wapens, equipment, you name it. Hulle gaan dit verskaf. Natuurlik weet nie aan watter troepe nie, so ek weet nie of hulle Chinese soldate ook gaan verskaf nie. Maar dis nie waar dit eindig nie. Hulle was natuurlik in Simonstad ook. En daai stukkiende bootjies van ons wat hulle daar gesien staan het hulle ook 'n plan. Dat hulle Simonstad gaan opgradeer, sodat hulle grootskepe en hulle vlootskepe en hierdie flat decks van hulle kan aandoen daar by Simonstad. En natuurlik, daar praat jy van hulle J-35 vlootvliegtuie, opvegvliegtuie. So wat is die plan as ons hierna kyk? Hulle het oefeninge gehad teen Taiwan. Amerika en hulle sê blaatant hulle gaan mekaar aanvat. Wat soek hulle? Hulle soek 'n voetspoor in Afrika en om die Kaapse roete. Dis die enigste rede. Hulle is bereid om biljoene dollars in Suid-Afrika te spandeer om dit te kry. Die oomblik as hulle daai mag het, beheer hulle die hele suidelike halfrond hierso. Dis wat ons nog altyd goed gestaan het. So ons weet nou, hulle plan is wat? Hulle soek 'n voetspoor in Suid-Afrika. Maar nou moet ons weet, daar's 'n verdere ding wat hierby saamkom. En dis nou maar my opinie, my netelige opinie. Die ANC in die volgende verkiesing gaan nie hulle mag net weggee nie. Oor 3 jaar het hulle hierdie mag in Suid-Afrika met 2 brigades en al die Chinese, ek sê vir jou, Simonstad gaan Chinees wees, gaan hulle hê as backing en dan te enforce 'n government onder druk deur die ANC. Dit is hulle langtermyn. Dan hulle nou 'n nuwe weermag en hulle die mag om enige iets in die grond te druk. Die ander ding wat ons moet aan dink is natuurlik, ons hoor die heeltyd van die secesering van die Kaap. Okay, dis 'n groot probleem vir ons president. En hy kan nie besluit of die mense in die Kaap 'n referendum wil hou of nie. Daar's baie meer betrokke is dit. En dis hoekom die deel ook nie wil betrokke raak nie, want hulle geld gaan betrokke. Maar dit is 'n ding wat kan gebeur. As dit gebeur, is die Chinese 'n bietjie gepootjie. Laat ek dit so stel. So hulle maak voorsiening dat Bloemfontein is op die grens en is sentraal van die hele Suid-Afrika. So hulle kan redelik mag uittoon met hulle vliegtuigies en hulle whatever hulle nodig het. So ons moet baie moet kyk na wat hier besig is om aan die gang te gaan. En dis hoekom ek sê nou vir jou dat die Amerikaners is nie stupid nie. Hulle het ook hulle intelligensie gedoen. Hulle weet wat die planne van die Russe, die Iranese en van die Chinese is. So ons moet kyk wat gaan gebeur in hierdie volgende tyd. Ons moet baie mooi kyk. Hier is wêreldmagte wat speel oor Suid-Afrika. Hulle voel niks vir ons nie. Hulle soek 'n voetstuk hierso. En dis belangrik. Dat ek dink, vir my is dit belangrik om te sien die groot prentjie. Want die Chinese doen niks vir niks nie, broer. Niks vir niks nie. En ons kan nie betaal nie. En hoe gouer, dis hoekom hulle dit druk, hoe gouer hulle dit in plek kan kry. Kyk, dit gaan vir hulle 'n paar, sê jaar of 2 of 3 vat om al die equipment die te kry in Bloemfontein. Jy kan imagine wat so opleidingsplek dit sal wees met al die nuutste equipment wat daar is en natuurlik Simonstad. So ons moet kyk, hierdie manne druk vir tyd. En dat by die volgende verkiesing wil die ANC die ding in plek hê.
Ja,
Dis my opinie.
Die ding is, kyk, as dit by die Chinese kom, by China en in Afrika. Kyk, 3/4 van Afrika besit China in elk geval klaar.
Hulle besit nog nie die suidpunt beheer van die suidpunt nie. Hulle kan dit nie van Zimbabwe of Namibië doen nie, hulle moet dit van hier af doen.
Presies.
Suid-Afrika. Dit is die belangrikste sleutelpunt vir hulle. Nog al die jare is die Kaap, die weg om die Kaap.
Maar die ding is net, want dis hoekom hulle so vrylik geld uitleen en leen in die Afrika lande. Want as hulle nie terug kan betaal nie, dan vat hulle wat hulle wil hê. Hulle vat weermagbasis, hulle vat die, hulle vat daai. En die bewyse is daar buite, die bewyse is daar fisies. En die mense moet miskien net bietjie begin oogklippe afhaal en dit begin raak sien, dan sal hulle weet wat aangaan. Maar ek weet nie of julle bewus is dat, kyk hierso in hier by van 'n Byl, tussen van 'n Byl en Vereniging, word hier ook 'n massiewe cargo vliegveld gebou. Alles staat goedgekeur, alles. Die flyovers, alles is daar gedoen, die Katuti, die projek vir die vliegveld self begin nou, 2026. En nou wat jy so praat van die brug, en wat is nou nog makliker, om net hierso by N1 te klim, en van hier af, die goed af te voer, so toe ook per pad. 200 kilos.
Ja.
So alles
Dis al die goed is moontlik. Dis hoekom ek sê ons moet net bietjie dink.
so die legkaart is stadig maar verseker besig om mooi in mekaar in te pas. En ek kan nog meer probleme sien vir ons vorentoe as wat dit ja,
If you don't mind, I would like to just add something to what Christo just said.
let's do.
You know, one thing about the ANC that I don't think a lot of people realize, and I think people must actually, I'm going to say something, I'm going to make a bold statement, and people must actually go and think about it. The difference between the ANC post the 24 elections and prior to the 24 elections is prior to the 24 elections, the ANC had opposition in this country. This time around, the ANC's got no opposition, because those that oppose them are now in coalition with them. So actually, people must really go and think whether or not we are better off. I know a lot of people say, yeah, you know, it's a good thing, the GNU is a good thing, it's a step in the right direction, it's better than what we had. But I wonder if people actually realize that we are now sitting with an ANC that has no opposition. The second thing I want to mention quickly is, you know, in light of what we are discussing now with China's involvement in South Africa. I mean, China has been involved in South Africa for many years now, but with all these new, you know, the stuff that is now being planned for the new year, South Africa is supposed to be a democracy. And let me just quickly, I want to read a definition to you. If you go and look at the definition of the word democracy, it says it is a system where power belongs to the people, who rule either directly or by electing representatives to make decisions for them, ensuring everyone has a say in how their country is run. It is a government by the people for the people. Citizens hold the ultimate authority. These are all characteristics of a democracy, which we are supposed to be. So don't you think the citizens of this country should have a say in who our country gets sold off to? Government's just making decisions. They are selling our country off to the Chinese and to whoever they want to sell it off to. And as Christo said, deals are being struck. China won't do these things for nothing. I mean, there's something that they are getting something in return. We don't know what it is. I can only speculate. We can only speculate. But these are decisions that are being taken, and the citizens of this country we are not involved in the decision-making process. They are just making these decisions, and they are putting our country at risk. They are putting the citizens of this country at risk. They are spitting in the faces of other superpowers in the world with all their stunts. They are constantly, what's the right term? They are looking for cock. Excuse me, listeners. And they are being left to just go ahead and do whatever the hell they want to do. They are not being checked. There's no oversight. It's as if they have been given keys to the city. They have been given a hall pass to go and do as they see fit and as they please. And they should be acting in the best interests of the people of South Africa. That is what a democracy is supposed to be. Now, this doesn't sound like democracy to me. This sounds like communism to me.
Absolutely.
So people must really take this into they must listen to what we are saying. We are not sitting here, we are not doing prophets, or we want to go into 2026. We are excited about the year that lies ahead. But you know what? One of the things, our New Year's resolutions, and that was in the message that I posted yesterday, is we need to learn from our mistakes. But we also need to make every moment count in 2026. And we cannot allow for injustices in this country to happen. People need to stop being silent. We need to speak up. And when we speak up, we must do so loudly. If enough people stand up and if enough people speak up, and if they speak out loud enough, this government will have no other choice but to listen. but they are doing stuff and everybody's being silent on them, silent on it. And people are just taking it on the chin, and we are carrying on with our daily lives, and we are not considering the repercussions that might follow. Everybody is concerned with their own well-being and the well-being of their families, rightly so. But these things have consequences. These things are going to have consequences in the future. And we need to speak out against these things. And like I said, the ANC at the moment has no opposition. They had opposition, but that opposition that they had is now part of that government. So the people of South Africa, we need to start standing up and speaking out against these things. Decisions are being made on our behalf. I promise you, if we have to do a poll now and ask all the citizens of this country whether they are in favor of some of these decisions that are being taken, I would be very interested to see what the results of that poll would be. But that is the way they should be governing this country. They should be governing this country with the citizens of this country, and our opinions count and matter. But our opinions are completely being ignored. We are not even being consulted in this regard. They are just making decisions on our behalf, and we are going to suffer the consequences.
Absolutely, absolutely. Chris?
Ek wil net aanraak met Jackie wat sê daar's geen oppositie nie met ons president. Absoluut. Ons moet net kyk, Chris het so rukkie terug gesê van follow the money. As jy kyk tussen Zille en haar president, wie is in charge? Wie word gefund? En natuurlik dieselfde persone wat Zille fund ook die ander partye. So en ek wil nie in detail betrokke raak nie. So dieselfde mense betaal vir die verskillende partye. So follow the money. Maar daar is ook 'n sêding wat sê, evil prevails when good men do nothing. Okay. So dis tyd dat goeie mense soos ons moet opstaan en begin doen. Want as ons dit nie doen nie, die ANC gaan net maak wat hulle wil. En ek bedoel, regtig, het 7 Div. Wie ken nie vir 7 Div op Bloemfontein nie? Dit was die logistieke departement of van die weermacht. Daar het soveel voertuie en goed. Ek is seker al die voertuie wat daar staan is van 1985 nog. So die high secrecy, weet ek nou nie waaroor dit gaan nie. Maar ons moet versigtig wees en goeie mense moet begin opstaan en dinge begin doen. En die belangrikste weer eens, as ons iets in Suid-Afrika gedoen wil hê, moet ons by die stembus uit. Dan kan ons dit oornag verander. Dis die belangrikste ding. Die boodskap moet wees dat kom ons stem die mense uit. Intussen tyd moet ons praat en beklei, maar solank hulle in power is, kan ons vreeslik baie doen omtrent. Dankie, Prof.
Dankie, Christo. Chris?
Prof, I watch a lot of geopolitics, and I have to go with what Jacques is saying. Things are just dumped on us incrementally. What does China want? Yes, they want to have, and bottom line is a military base halfway between here and the States. And any smart country like the United States, they have military bases all over the show because they don't want the inevitability of war to come home. They don't want. They'd rather wage war in somebody else's country. And this goes for be it Russia, Iran, America, it doesn't really matter. No country wants war in their own country. No one does. Two things about war, and you, Prof, Christo, myself, will know this for a fact. Nobody wins. Nobody wins. It doesn't matter if you destroy a country completely, the losses you will take means you have lost, whether you like it or not. So, yes, I don't see the ANC looking at this as being, this is what these people are doing. I think they looking at it as we are dying, we need to take out as much as we can and then leave this country. And the citizens of South Africa will have to fix this. So, yes, Prof. Yes, Christo, 100%. Jacques, 100%. Follow the money. How did your vote work out for you the last time? What South Africans do not realize, and I'll give it in Leon Schuster terms, times is few. There isn't any time anymore. Die tyd vir speletjies is verby. Ons moet nou saam staan as 'n nasie, of anders het ons nie meer 'n nasie nie.
Absoluut.
And that's what it boils down to. We have to stand together as South Africans, all of us, white, black, green, pink, orange, Zulu, Xhosa, white, it doesn't matter. We have to stand together as South Africans and say, like the Afrikaans people say, tot hier toe en nie verder nie. Not an inch more. We the people take back our country. That is what we have to do. There is no other choice.
Thanks, Chris. Christo?
En kyk natuurlik die ander voordeel vir die Chinese om Suid-Afrika te annexeer is natuurlik ons grondstowwe en ons boerderye. Ek bedoel, en ons visserye. Ek bedoel, dis net 'n add-on vir hulle, dat dit net 'n bonus is. So, en ek dink dit is wat in hulle plan is. Daar's 700 miljoen Chinese wat op die water bly. So hulle is baie grond hier, hulle sal hulle hiernatoe bring. So dit is wat ons moet, die gevaar is, hierdie kommuniste, hulle het ander planne.
Ja, hulle het planne duistere planne wat ons altyd mooi ons verstaan dit glad nie, want hulle wil nie ons moet dit verstaan nie, hulle wil nie ons moet weet wat dit is nie. En dit bring my
Hulle het langtermyn planne, prof. Jy ouens beplan nie vir 10 jaar nie, hulle beplan vir 100, 200 jaar.
Absoluut.
So dit is waar hulle is. Hulle is baie verder voor as wat ons mense dink ons kan wees.
Weet, en dit bring my by die hoofgesprekke vanaand. En ek meen, ons kan 'n verandering maak. 'n verandering kan kom in hierdie land. Ons kan van hierdie goed stopgesit kry. Ons het die mag om dit te doen. Ek meen, elke liewe persoon wat vanaand luister, wat gaan en die boodskap net vat na nog enetjie toe, en daai vat hom na nog ene toe, of na nog 2 toe, en ons kan dit so versprei, om te sê, maar jy het die mag, jy kan 'n verandering maak. Want die verandering kom, soos jy direk vroeër gesê by die stembus. Jy sien, baie mense sê, ja, maar jy weet, dit is maar net 'n sentiment, wat mense uitspreek, en wil sê, ag ja, jy weet, jy kan 'n verandering maak, want jy het 'n mag. Dit is maar net so fiekie dingetjie, wat almal maar sê. Maar mense besef nie werklik waar, die mag wat hulle werklik waar het in die einde van die dag nie. En ongelukkig die probleem, soos wat ek het sien en ondervind het tot nou toe, is dat wanneer daar by die stembuise gestem moet word, die mense het so versnog geraak, en terug te sit en sê, my stem gaan nie verandering maak nie. Daar gaan niks verander nie, maar dit is die laaste 30 jaar so gewees. Die ANC gaan in elk geval wen. Daar gaan in elk geval weer 'n koalisie regering wees. Die DA praat daarvan, die Vryheidsfront Plus praat daarvan, almal praat daarvan om te sê, na die munisipale verkiesing gaan daar samewerkingsooreenkomste wees om te regeer in die munisipaliteite en daai tipe goed. Nou, ek meen, dit het tyd gekom dat mense moet begin besluitnemings maak. Hulle moet begin besluit wat hulle wil doen, hoe hulle dit wil doen. En Jacques het hierdie punt laasweek, net voor ons afgesluit het hy hom aangeraak. Toe hy dit pertinent gesê het, you can make a difference, because you got the power to do it. En Jacques, ek weet nie of jy hierop wil inkom nou nie.
Prof, yes, I listened, I think it was Chris that just said, people are of the opinion that one vote won't make a difference. But you know what, people have got the equation wrong. People have got the equation completely wrong. Every person that doesn't vote, that gets up and decides to vote, serves as an example to the next person that doesn't vote. So every person that doesn't vote, that decides to get up and vote, will serve as an example to the next person that doesn't vote. And that person that then gets up and votes will serve as an example to the next person that doesn't vote. And before you know it, you're going to have 1 million people that don't normally vote that are going to go and they're going to vote and they can swing an election. It's as simple as that. And we must ask ourselves, the people must ask themselves the following questions. How many farm murders is enough? What is the number? Where's the cutoff point? How many assassinations is enough? How many jobs lost is enough? What is the figure? When are people going to say, you know what? We cannot lose another job. We cannot have another farmer murdered. We cannot have another child killed or molested or raped. We cannot have another billion stolen in South Africa. There has to be a cut-off point somewhere where people say, this is now the line. We are drawing a line in the sand, and that's the line. But we have become so desensitized to what's happening in South Africa. We've grown so accustomed to, the quality of life that we are living in South Africa, and the quality of leadership that we have, and the state of our government and what have you, and our police. Nothing surprises us anymore. If you pick up the newspaper and you read about somebody getting murdered or whatever, and I'm talking out of experience. You know what? It doesn't really even affect you anymore, because we are dealing with this stuff daily. But there has to be a cutoff point. There has to be a point of no return, and I want to know, what is the point of no return? Is the point of no return a point where we are going to get to where it's going to be too late to turn things around? Or are we going to say, listen, we are stopping the bleeding? Neil used to talk about stopping the bleeding, plugging the wound, and then fixing the injury, fixing those injuries, and starting with the healing process. But we keep on shifting the goalposts. Another New Year's resolution I think that we need to adopt, all of us, is, and I'm going to say it in Afrikaans, van afstel, of uitstel kom afstel.
Absolutely.
Van uitstel kom afstel. If we want to act, we need to act now. Don't postpone things anymore. We have been postponing things for 30 years, and every year this country gets exponentially worse. And then it becomes twice as difficult to fix what is broken. We have to reach a point where we say, all right, we are stopping this now. We've had enough. We have to turn things around. We cannot say and wait and say, oh, listen, we'll do it tomorrow. We'll do it next week. We'll do it next month. Those are the typical New Year's resolutions, that everybody starts off with. I'm going to quit smoking tomorrow. Then tomorrow falls on a Wednesday. Then people say, you know what, let me just carry on until the end of the weekend. I'll quit next week Monday. Then next week Monday comes, and then people say, you know what, it's the middle of the month. I might as well quit at the end of the month. That is the attitude people have in this country with government as well, and with all the nonsense that's going on in South Africa. We have to reach a point where we say, it stops now. We will not tolerate any more of this nonsense, and we are not going to tolerate any more of these injustices. We cannot keep on shifting the goalposts and postponing these things. It's going to reach a point where we're going to wake up one day and say, oh hell, now I've got lung cancer. It's too late to stop smoking now.
Absolutely.
Sorry to use that anecdote.
No, but that's the truth. The truth always sets you free. Now, for us to do, to get change done, for us to say, listen, we can make a difference, we can make a change. There are certain steps, obviously, what we need to initiate to do that change. Now, I just noted a couple of things down here quickly. And according to me, I say acknowledge and take responsibility, because that's the first thing that we need to do. We need to acknowledge that this country is in chaos. This country is kaput. And we need to start to take responsibility. We need to start to take it back into our hands. Otherwise, nothing is going to happen. By doing that, you need to define your goals with clarity then.
Prof, the only way we're going to do this is people are going to have to do a mind shift change, unfortunately. Because we are all concerned about our own well-being and the well-being of our families, and because we have been forced into these situations. And I totally understand it, and I don't judge anybody for having that kind of mindset. We are in survival mode at the moment. But we are going to have to get out of our comfort zones, and we are going to have to start adopting a neighborly mindset or whatever you want to call it. And we're going to have to start helping each other. We're going to have to get our hands dirty. We're going to have to roll up our sleeves and get our hands dirty. And we're going to have to set examples that other people will follow so that other people will join in and help and do what we do and do what those people are doing that are setting those examples. And hopefully this will have a ripple effect all over South Africa. And you know what, before you know it, that is how we will create unity. But we're not going to create unity sitting on our couches, concerned with our own lives and not the lives of other people and our neighbors and our friends and our fellow South Africans and our country, because that attitude is going to lead us nowhere. We're going to, unfortunately, and it's going to be uncomfortable, because we're going to, like I said, we're going to have to get up, roll up our sleeves and do things that we are not comfortable doing. But that's the only way, and we're going to have to start reaching out to one another and helping one another. And that means if you have to go to places that you don't normally go to and speak to people that you don't normally speak to, so be it. At the end of the day, it's going to benefit every person in South Africa, and it's going to benefit our country. And that is how we are going to raise a citizens' army in this country that can speak out against injustices and be a united voice that speaks with authority and power and loud enough so that this government has no option but to listen and but to adhere to our demands and our requests and to listen to us, so that we don't have a situation again at the end of next year where people compile reports and publish reports of ministers not responding to correspondence and to written requests like we discussed last week.
Yeah, absolutely, because I mean, they even need to be taught once after. I need to go back to school just to be taught how to just courtesy, just respond to an email or something like that. But you spoke about survival mode. I actually call it that we actually went into limp mode. And that's where we need to get out of. Christo.
Dankie, Prof. Prof, ek wil nou net so 'n klein dingetjie bring. Ons het die ongelooflikste nuwejaarspreek gehad gisterand. Dit gaan oor los die donkie. Jy weet, as mens kyk na Abraham se geskiedenis, wat die Here vir hom beloof het en op 99, hoe moeilik die toekoms vir hom gelyk het en hy was in 'n ander land en so aan. Maar daar het 'n stadium gekom toe hy vir Isak moes gaan offer het. En toe hy by die berg kom, het hy gesien, die liewe Vader wil hom na hierdie hoë hoogtes toe vat. En ek sien Suid-Afrika in hierdie selfde situasie, dat ons is Abraham. Ons is met hierdie donkies besig om te sukkel tot op 'n punt toe waar die Here eintlik sê, Abraham sê, los die donkies en los die diensknegte hierso, ek en Isak gaan boontoe, ons kom terug. Nou, dis presies dieselfde wat ek dink wat in Suid-Afrika aan die gang is. Ons mense moet besluit, wat is die donkies wat ons terughou om daardoor te kom in Suid-Afrika weer 'n goeie land te maak. Ons moet besluit, wat is my donkie? Is dit die ANC, of is dit die, of is dit nou omdat ek miskien 'n rasis is, of whatever die storie is. Elke Suid-Afrikaner moet besluit dat ons hierdie donkies los in die ou jaar. Dat ons 'n nuwe ding, dat ons by die hoogte kan uitkom, want hierdie donkies hou ons terug. En ek dink dit is so 'n goeie van toepassing en wat ons probeer doen, is dat Suid-Afrika, ons het 'n land van melk en honing, maar ons moet beheer van, hierdie ouens het nie saak nie, hulle verkoop ons, en soos ek verstaan, met al die hawes besit die Chinese alreeds, ek praat onder korreksie. So kom ons los die donkies in die ou jaar en kyk, hoe kan ons hande vat en saam die ding doen. En Jackie, soos praat van een mag om hierdie mense aan te spreek. Daar is baie organisasies daar buite, waarvan ek ook deel was, wat hard probeer, maar die mense staan nie saam nie. Ons moet 'n goue middelweg kry, dat al die mense in die land kan saamstaan en een doel voor oë het, is om Suid-Afrika te fix. Ons moet daai mechanic kry, om ons uit limp mode te kry. Somehow moet ons, en miskien is UIM, of ek is seker UIM kan daai mechanic wees.
Ja, nee, ek dink ook daai ding, verseker. Chris?
Jy weet, Prof, You actually got there before I did, Krista. What scares me about this whole thing, and as you get older, Prof, you start to take away the things that don't matter in your life, and you start to consider to yourself, what sort of legacy are you leaving behind? What impact have you left behind when you die? And what worries me is the next phase of this is when you stand before your Creator one day and He asks you, what did you do with the gifts that I gave you? The gifts of sight, the gifts of voice, verbalization, hearing, whatever. And you tell Him, and then He says to you, what did you do with the most important gift? The gift of integrity, the gift of justice, the gift of truth. Did you stand for that, or did you sell those gifts I gave you for 30 pieces of silver? And that's what worries me. And what Christo said earlier on, evil only prevails when good men do nothing. That is what I'm scared of, because I know for a fact, Prof, that I'll be on this earth for far less time than I'll be in my grave. And I'll stand on that day of judgment for a hell of a lot longer than I've been in both places. And wherever I go, I don't want to go to the bad place for eternity. So this is what I've got to make sure, that the impact I've left behind will be a legacy and not a piece of history that somebody wants to sweep under the carpet.
Yeah, I hear you, and I agree with you 100% there. You know, that brings me about another thing, and before we go back to Christo, you know, all these organizations can't stand together currently. And now they got more reason not to stand together with this SA situation room, what Dirko now have established and busy setting it up, right? And I saw when I read what I said, they got two divisions in this. One is for public diplomacy, and the other for Europe and America, respectively. So they have established the situation room to counter the propaganda that all those organizations are spreading out there. So, all that we know, maybe in a week, 2 weeks' time, and they will come and say, listen, whatever you guys are talking on Straight Talk with the UIM, you are actually busy spreading propaganda.
Ja.
So ja, Christo, wat is jou gevoel daaromtrent?
Ja, Professor, wil ek eers terugkom, maar as ons kyk na plek soos Senekal, ek weet nie of julle na die aardkaart gekyk het nie. En die projek wat daar saam met Frans Cronje en die man wat daai soort man wat besluit het. Ja, dit was amper 'n oorlogszone daai. As jy onthou wat presies daar gebeur het. En hoe het hierdie dorpie bymekaar gekom? En ek weet nie of jy dit gesien het of jy enigins dit gesien. Doen jouself 'n guns. Hoe mense saamwerk van die taxi, van Sasco, van die filmbedryf, van Johan, wat sy naam, Frans Cronje, Hans Cronje se broer. Jy kan nie glo hoe het hulle Senekal verander nie. Jy moet kyk, daar is nie 'n pokkal in hy straat hoor nie. Hulle het alles gefiks. En samewerking, saam met die munisipaliteit, almal het ingeskep. En nou, dit is so 'n goeie voorbeeld wat ons kan volg in Suid-Afrika. As almal hierdie Senekal projek volg, jy moet jou guns doen en gaan kyk na hierdie projek wat gebeur het, of besig is om te gebeur in Senekal. En as Jackie, ek weet jy kom van Senekal, ek dink jy moes 'n bietjie rugby daar gespeel. Maar dit is blykbaar is die dorp nou heeltemal oorgedoen en die samewerking daar en die invloeks van fondse en investment is ongelooflik. Hulle daai hele Sasco, weet silos en goed het hulle verander na 'n filmbedryf soos Hollywood, weet waar jy kan films maak. En Sasco is 'n gedeelte waar hulle nou aan die mense verkoop, want Sasco blykbaar wou dit nie verkoop nie, hulle wou nie oppositie skep nie. Maar daar is soveel werk geskep nou. So regtig, ek dink Suid-Afrika kan leer by hierdie Senekal projek. Dis 'n regtig 'n goeie voorbeeld vir ons. Dat alle tipe mense saamwerk vir een doel.
Ja, nee,
South Africa's has got complex problems, no doubt. I mean, we've got complex issues and we've got complex problems, and if we only look at the local government elections, and that's when we focus on service delivery specifically. And we look at, this country we're looking at this country at community level, at grassroots level. You know what? Yes, we've got complex problems, but the problems that we have in South Africa don't require complex solutions. They require acts. They require acts from people, acts of kindness. They require people to get up and just act and do small things. We've got 60 odd million people in South Africa, minus all the illegal immigrants. That's about 50 million. Of that 50 million, half of them are probably grown-ups. So let's say we've got 25 million grown-ups in this country. Let's take 10% of that. It's a small total, it's a small number. That's 2.5 million people. If 2.5 million people, if 10% of this country's adult population gets up and does one act of kindness, commits one act of kindness, or just an act to better the lives of a fellow citizen, a neighbor, a community, a town, a neighborhood. That's 2.5 million acts a day. We're not even, you know what, they don't even have to do it every day. If they do it once a month, that's 2.5 million acts that contribute to the people of South Africa and to our country and to our communities that take place every single month. Small acts. People don't have to try and change this country by themselves. They don't have to do huge things, complex things. Small acts of kindness, like filling a bottle, like giving somebody food that doesn't have food. Speaking out against somebody that, you know, that's being racist, for instance. Like tackling an injustice that happens in your town or in your community or whatever. Helping a neighbor. Simple acts like these. If simple acts like these are done or committed by 10% of this country's adult population, that's 2.5 million acts a month. And if we can go one step further and do one such an act a week, that's 10 million a month. And these will accumulate. Biki Mark Bayer. That's a first step. That's a step in the right direction. And people are going to start realizing that they actually have more in common than they think. And they're actually going to start getting to know one another. And you're going to see people are going to start speaking about stuff and politics in this country. And people are going to start seeing eye to eye on certain things. And by the next time when we go to the ballot box, when the 2029 elections happen, or the 2026 elections for that matter, there's going to be a huge change in this country. But we're going to have to act. We're going to have to act. We're going to have to commit certain acts of kindness or acts that contribute to the people of South Africa or our neighbors or our communities. This is one thing. This is just a step in the right direction. It sounds stupid. It sounds like a movie. There's probably a movie on this. I think there is it's that Pay It Forward movie. People mustn't just watch that movie and think it's a bunch of nonsense. It's not. People must actually go and watch that movie again. I know we don't believe in fairy tales and all this nonsense, but there's some lessons that you can learn from that movie in actual fact, because what they spoke of in that movie and the theme of that movie is very realistic, it's very doable, and I promise you, if people start doing that, you're going to see a hell of a change in South Africa. But we've got people, there's people, individuals that are trying to do this. And the sad thing about this is, most of the time, you're going to see that those individuals that do get up and take action, 99% of the time they get criticized for it on social media. So you know what, this is a message to everybody out there. If you're not going to help or support or encourage, then shut up. Rather than just shut up.
Absolutely.
So either contribute, either encourage, either support, or shut up.
I say. Before we go to the messages, we got quite a couple of messages what came in this evening. Wil ek net graag aansluit daarso by wat Christo gesê het oor samewerking. En ons het dit gesien hierso in Mfuleni. En ons span hierso die Mfuleni UAM tak hierso. Ons het hande uitgereik en nou praat ek met die MMC's en so in die plaaslike munisipale regering. En ons het gaan sit met hulle, ek, myself, Benjamin Hannibal, Jill, Bill van Heerden, Sean Hunter en dis meer. En ons het van 'n tafel met hulle gaan sit en sê, luister, hoe kan ons saamwerk? Hoe kan ons hande vat om dinge beter te maak? Ons is nie hierso nie om net wat wil pak slag gee, om julle net te vertel hoe sleg dit julle is nie, maar ons wil saamwerk. En presies wat soos Christo gesê het, daai om te sê ons is hier om saam te werk. Ons wil kyk hoe kan ons dinge saam verbeter van die UAM se kant af. Het deure oopgemaak. Hoe anders het ons reg gekry laat ons provinsiale regering kry paai departement wat saam met ons op die 24ste Desember kom om slaggate reg te maak op 'n hoofaar. Weer op die 29ste is hulle weer terug. En wat hulle sê, luister, ons sien julle vroeg Januarie weer. Hulle bly in kontak met ons op WhatsApps en diens meer. Konstant. En dit is presies, ek dink, sonder wat ons weet, volg ons eintlik so 'n bietjie daai cynical model wat daarso gebeur. En samewerking so kom met bedagsaamheid, soos wat Jacques genoem het. Jy weet, ons kom baie verder so, as om net heeltyd pak slate wil gee met 'n sambok. 'n Donkie, jy kan vir hom slaat soveel as jy wil, as hy steeks is en hy gaan staan, geen niks reg kry nie. Maar as jy mooi werk en jy sit daai worteltjie daar voor hom, dan gaan hy begin stap. En dit is waarna en dit is waarna ons moet kyk. Maar ja, ons het dit probeer hierso, dit werk hier by ons kant. En ek glo daar waar al my mede-kollegas van die UAM doenig is reg oor die land, pas hulle dieselfde prinsipie toe. Soos Kurt Olivier hierso sê, Oliver, hy sê the UAM is willing to do what it takes, the UAM is willing to serve with integrity, excellence and truth. Dan Sean Venter, hy het hierso klomp goed hierso, hy sê we need to bring back military policing in the early 90s when SAPS was overwhelmed. The military police came in to assist, especially with major issues in high crime areas. SARS needs to investigate taxes for tax evasion. I'm surprised we can even play naval games. We only have 2 working fighter jets and maybe 3 ships. So we are playing ref in those exercises. I don't know what we're playing. But he said China is getting free Iranian shops. 90% of your China mall shops are not SARS compliant and don't report the VAT they take. If SARS has to go into one China mall, they can claim almost 1 billion in taxes. So but that is SARS what needs to do it. And when Benjamin Hannibal tells us, even all our listeners, I'm listening today's discussing on China's strategic approach to South Africa. And one thing stands out for me. If we compare working standards, we often see Chinese projects like road construction completed in a day or weeks, while our own government and municipality takes months or even years to deliver the same basic infrastructure. So when we talk about China's interest in strategic cooperation with South Africa, I can't help but think there's more at play than just partnership. It raises questions about efficiency, accountability, and wherever our own systems are failing our people, we should be asking what lessons we are not learning and whose interests are truly being prioritized. And I think that was quite answered also for us a bit earlier. And when Carlos Pereira, from Volksrus, we had on the other evening with us, he said, good evening, Carlos here in Volksrus. SAPS have just deployed the new recruits that finished their training at college. It's not a shortage of service police, it's a shortage of resources. Budget cuts are already proposed for the 2026 financial year. One cannot steal money that is not yet monies are being, one cannot steal money that is not there, yet monies are getting stolen. Yeah, that is our messages for so far. And I see Christo got his hand up. We got about 10 minutes left, and then we need to start to wrap up. Chris, I mean.
Prof, yeah, I'm looking at, I was just listening to Benjamin Hannibal's statement he made. It's very true. But if we take into consideration that Burkina Faso kicked out all the foreigners out of their country, and they themselves decided to tar roads, take parliamentary salary cuts, not buy weapons but buy tractors, to employ their own people, to build roads, to build infrastructure. So I think it's not a case of we need to learn, or let's put it this way, the ANC needs to learn. Nee. Ek dink die ANC moet van hulle basse afklim wat so groot is en begin 'n werk pappie. This country needs people to stand together to get the job. We don't need foreigners to build our infrastructure. We need to stand together as a nation and build our infrastructure. That's what we need to do. People are people, tar is tar, holes are holes, cars are cars. And if that man can build a car in 10 days, we can build a car in 10 days. If his roads can be built quickly, so can we. So this ANC has become so opulent, they would rather buy E600 Mercedes-Benz than employ 20 policemen to look after farms. Ry met 'n Toyota gaan langer hou as 'n Mercedes-Benz in elk geval. So it's a case of, like Jock said, what is that number in between there? Give us a number where the plundering, the stealing, the destroying of our country comes to an end. The ANC's main aim is to keep South Africa, number one, poor, to keep our youth ignorant, and the only thing they have to fall back on is apartheid. So there is a bigger gap between the ANC and the people than there is between white and black, white and green, and white and orange, and English and Afrikaans. And as long as we as people allow the ANC to drive that wedge between us, this country will go nowhere. It'll first be China, then it'll be Russia, then it'll be America who wants a naval base, and France, and you name a country. Because the ANC is just too corrupt and just too jammer at the front verskoning kaklei. That's what they are.
Yeah, but Chris, you know what? You say we must get over their big backsides and do something. And when they do it, they actually take a gravel road, just like that, and throw bitumen and tar over it, and think that's going to help with that pothole there. Yeah, I wonder where that going to have fallen. Because hy kan hom nie as op die voorkop vasgesteek het nie, maar hy het dit ook gemis. But that is the fact of it all. Yeah, James, we got about 8 minutes left before we need to say goodbye. I want to start, and I'm going to ask Francis. He's been quiet the whole time. I hope he's still with us, Mr. De Vis. If you got any final words in about 30 seconds, what you just want to share with us.
Yeah, Prof, I'm still with you. Thank you very much. Yeah, now I hear you. I agree 110% with every speaker. And as our national spokesperson have said, they must just get all their packages and start working. We can do it. I show it in our park. We did it. We have 3 projects that we have that the PA Council that we couldn't do for 10 years. So yes, I agree, and thank you very much again for allowing this opportunity to speak and to the listeners so that they can hear what the UAM can do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Francis. Chris, your closing remarks. You got your minute or so, and your movie.
I'm going to close by saying, by giving my Mumish of the week. In this case, it is the ANC government. And it's a case of never before in history has so few stolen from so many in such a short time. That's my closing statement.
Thank you, Chris. Christo.
Dankie, Prof. Ja, Prof, ek kom weer terug na my gedagte toe, jy weet, wat ek eintlik geleer het in Turkye baie jare terug toe ek daar was. In Turkye het elke winkeltjie, kyk, hulle doen besigheid, hulle sluit jou toe na die winkel voor jy kan uitgaan. Maar as een ding wat hulle doen, hulle werk. Daai ouens het duisende shoppietjies, maar hy maak sy shop skoon en vanaand maak hy voor sy shop skoon en hy maak die stuk straat voor sy shop skoon. So as Suid-Afrika net begin, dat ons eie sypaadjies begin skoonmaak en ons donkies los, kan ons ver kom in hierdie land. So dit is my boodskap daar buite. Kom ons begin die sypaadjies skoonmaak. Dis 'n klein begin, maar dis 'n groot begin. Maar geseënde aand vir die mense verder en geniet die bietjie van die vakansie wat oor is.
Baie dankie
Dankie,
Chris. Baie dankie. Jacques, ja, ek het spesiaal 'n bietjie ekstra minute vir jou gelos want ek weet dit is nodig.
Now, Prof, I'm going to do this in Afrikaans and then translate it into English. And I'm going to use myself as an example. Jy weet, kom ek begin in Afrikaans. Ek het baie dinge toe ek nou jonger was wat my pa my probeer leer het. Baie dingetjies. En dan was ek harregat, wil nie luister nie. Dink my pa weet nie waarvan hy praat nie. En weet, dan kom jy eendag op 'n reëndag, as jy 'n sekere ouderdom bereik, dan besef jy skielik eendag iets gebeur. Dan besef jy, my jene, weet jy wat, my pa het altyd die waarheid gepraat. En dan dink jy terug en dan dink jy, yes, as ek nou maar net daai tyd vir hom geluister het nie, dan het ek myself nou soveel swaar kry en teëspoed en drama gespaar. Maar nou moes ek nou deur al hierdie goed nou gaan voor ek nou eendag kon besef, weet jy wat, my pa was reg. En ek hoop nie dit is die geval van Suid-Afrika nie. Ek hoop hierdie 30 jaar wat nou verby is nou daai lesse wat ons 30 jaar al terug of jare terug al klaar geleer is, of wat ons uit ondervinding uit al geleer het in hierdie land. En ek hoop nie daar is nog 10 jaar wat moet verbygaan vir ons om ons koppe te stamp en te sukkel en te struikel en deur teëspoed te gaan voor ons op eendag, hoe sê hulle, 'n eureka moment gaan hê en gaan wakker word en gaan besef, ai jene, weet julle wat, as ons nou maar net wat ons nou vandag gedoen het, 10 jaar terug gedoen het, dan het ons onsself nou al hierdie moeilikheid gespaar. So what I'm basically saying is, you know what, there's a lot of things my dad tried to teach me when I was younger, and I didn't listen. Didn't want to listen, thought he didn't know what he was talking about. And then you reach a certain age where something happens to you one day, and then you realize that your dad actually knew what he was talking about. And had you listened, or had I listened, I would have saved myself so much drama and hardships in life. And this is what I don't want for South Africa. I want people to use the last 30 years as an example of what we don't want going forward, of what this country shouldn't be going forward. And people need to act like we spoke about, like we said tonight, those small acts of kindness, or those moments where we just get up off our backsides and we roll up our sleeves and do something about it, instead of waiting for other people to do it. I don't want us to 10 years from now eventually get to a point where we are forced to take action. And the moment we do, we find or we realize how easy it was to fix South Africa, and that it could have been done 10 years earlier. Because that is what's going to happen. Because it's not that difficult to change this country. But we have a choice. We can either fix it now, or we're going to wait another 10 years, go through more hardships, and then one day get to a point where we do what we should have done 10 years earlier, and we could have saved ourselves all that trouble and all that drama and all those hardships that we suffered in 10 years, in the next 10 years. So we've got a decision to make, and I think it's a mindset change, but we've got a golden opportunity to change this country and to change our lives forever, and it can be done in a very short amount of time, or we can keep on going down the same road, bumping our heads, and one day, like I said, 10 years, 20 years from now, realize that, these are problems that could have been resolved way earlier than they were resolved. So my point is, act now. Don't postpone things. Moenie uitstel nie, van uitstel kom afstel. In broken English and Afrikaans.
Absolutely. Baie dankie, Jacques. Yes, listeners, I just want to, on this topic, I want to give you my biblical view on this, because I think it's important that we understand it. Romans 12 verses 12 tells us, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. And therefore we need to decide if we're going to keep on telling, you know, I can't do it, I can't go this way, I can't go that way, because I always fail. Doesn't matter where I put my little cross, we always fail. We never get a step forward. And you know, that brings me to 2 Peter 1:3, which says, according to his divine power I have given unto all things that pertain unto life and godliness, through the knowledge of him that have called us to glory and virtue. God have called us to glory and virtue. He called us to glory and virtue in this country. We're not here in this country to suffer the way we are suffering. We are to be able to reign supreme in this country. Each and every citizen, each and every person who are got the authority and the power to make a change. So if you want to sit back and to say, listen, soos as ek Afrikaans kan sê, soos Jannie en Sunny jammer, daar in die hoekie, en wil bly huil om te sê, ja, niks gaan verander nie. Dan is dit tyd wat jy jou kop skud, jou ore jou wakker klap, tot jou neusbloed begin bloei, en dat jy kan begin bykom. Now, we're in the beginning of a new year. You know, if you are saying now it is already useless to vote, don't give up. There is prospects out there for us to vote, to make a change. We can make a change this year, and it begins with you. You who goes to the polls to believe in the party you're going to vote for. But make a very informative decision. Just ask yourself, that party what I voted for last time, what have I actually done for me? What have I done over this period when everybody was on holiday? When we didn't have water, didn't have power. Where were they then? Where were my councillors? On the beach? Wherever? When we complained about the accidents on the road because of all the potholes, where were they? I can tell you where the UIM was. Right across the country, they were busy making a difference. And I want to end up with this one of 2 Peter 1:4, whereby are given unto us exceeding great and precious promises, that by these you might be partakers of a divine nature, having escaped the corruption that is in the world through lust. Nou ja, geliefdes, luisteraars, ons kan dit ontsnap, maar dan moet ons opstaan en die verandering maak. Nou ja, daarmee sê ek vir julle, baie dankie dat julle ingeskakel was vanaand, sê baie dankie aan ons paneel, ons verteenwoordiger daar in die Weskaap, Francis de Vis, dan natuurlijk Chris Herodes aan Port Elizabeth, hierbo in Johannesburg, in die Oosrand, ons sekretaris-generaal, Christo Jonk, en dan natuurlijk ons president Jacques Taller, wat hy dan kom by sy ouers kuier, wat een van daar pad is terug Pretoria toe, en vir die van julle wat moet reis, veilig reis, kom in een stuk heel terug, want volgende week is ons terug, net hierso op Joy Radio. Van my kant af, tot ziens.
Father, we thank you for your guidance with the discussions on the program this evening. Lord, be with each and everyone throughout the weekend and week until we gather again. Bless every listener in Jesus' name. Amen.